Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Renfrew Center Foundation's webinar, Loosening the Grip of Negative Body Image. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Erin Byerly, and I'm your Alumni Services Coordinator, and I'll be moderating today's online presentation. So before I introduce you all to our presenter today, Susan Kleinman, I want to go over a few announcements and just give others a little bit of extra time to join. First off, we are very excited to announce that day treatment programming is now available at the Renfrew Center of Coconut Creek. So now, in addition to the residential programming on site, we also will be offering day treatment programming available 5 days a week for in-person care. And this addition will allow our amazing team at Coconut Creek to continue providing their excellent care to our patients as they move along in their journey of recovery. We are also excited to be hosting our fall alumni workshop, Harvesting Growth, Recovery's Journey of Transformation, both in person and virtually. We are extra excited because this workshop will also be being held at both of our residential sites, Spring Lane and Coconut Creek, in person, in addition to the outpatient sites that are traditionally holding it. So these events are taking place on either Tuesday, October 15th or Wednesday, October 16th from 6 until 8 p.m. There is one change in there, and that is that Radnor, Pennsylvania will be hosting on Tuesday, October 22nd. So we are really excited. This is a great way to kind of come back, reconnect with the staff, other alumni, and get some helpful tips for tolerating the transition to fall. We're already feeling, if anyone else has noticed it getting darker a little bit earlier, which I have. If you are also looking for more consistent support, we also are very excited to be offering our new weekly outpatient groups, both in person and virtually at specific sites. So if you're looking for that more kind of weekly consistent support, you can see here the sites where we are hosting them. And if you're interested in joining, you can reach out to our program information department at 1-800-RENFREW. We are also still hosting our residential alumni support group monthly. The next meeting will be hosted in October on Tuesday, the 22nd from 4 until 5. And then in November, it will be on Tuesday, the 19th. So you can register for those at renfrewcenter.com under the events page. Additionally, you all are here, so you know we are starting back up our fall alumni webinars with different topics throughout the month or each month. Next month, I'll be joined by Renfrew Center alum to talk about her journey of recovery with specific focus on her experience entering treatment later in life and subsequent experiences with motherhood while navigating recovery. So definitely a great topic to check out, as well as the rest of the year. We've got some really interesting topics. So as always, all registration for all of these events can be found at renfrewcenter.com under the events page, and you can even filter it specifically for what alumni opportunities there are. And if at any point in time you ever feel like you need more support, maybe you aren't sure what it is, but just know maybe a little something extra might help, you can always reach out to 1-800-RENFREW, get some more information, hear what options there are, and what support we can continue to offer you on your recovery journey. So following this webinar, we would love to have your feedback. You will be receiving an evaluation form via email. It is easily completed online. And this evaluation form is really helpful for us because it helps us develop new and innovative programs, different topics to focus on, and just generally helps us assist in your recovery because you all know what you need way better than we are going to know. We will be doing question and answer following the presentation. So once Susan has finished, but you can submit questions at any time during the webinar by typing them into the chat function. We will be monitoring that. So if there's something that comes up that is urgent, we can obviously bring that to Susan's attention as well. So now I would like to introduce you to today's presenter. Susan Kleinman, MA, BC, DMT, NCC, CEDS, BC-S is a creative arts therapy supervisor and dance movement therapist for the Renfrew Center of Florida. Susan is a trustee of the Marion Chase Foundation, a past president of the American Dance Therapy Association, and past chair of the National Coalition for Creative Arts Therapies. She has published extensively, presented widely, and is the recipient of the American Dance Therapy Association's 2013 Lifetime Achievement Award and the 2014 Spirit of IADEP Award. Her work is featured in the documentary entitled Expressing Disorder: Journey to Recovery. And Susan is also personally just a favorite of many of our Coconut Creek alumni. So I'm so excited to have Susan here with us today to present on this great topic. Susan, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Erin. I'm very happy to be here with you all today and am looking forward to co-creating with you a special time where we can work on the very difficult issue of body image. I hope you enjoy this session and feel free to contribute in the chat format or afterwards. So let's move it on to the next. And let's see what we can do. I liked the title of this presentation, Loosening the Grip of Negative Body Image, because I feel like it does have a grip on you. And it's one of the most difficult aspects of a person to change. I want you to know also that there are no wrong issues, no wrong feelings, no wrong thoughts that anybody has. So whatever you feel is appropriate for whatever has happened in your life to help you create this image of yourself. I'm going to read this so that you can hear it out loud from my voice, and feel free to just read along yourself with me. Our thoughts, attitudes, and feelings are influenced by what is experienced in our body. Likewise, our behaviors, which of course occur in our body, are influenced by our thoughts, attitudes, and feelings. Expanding the ability to resolve body image issues includes examining what underlies the negative perceptions and the feelings. We're going to explore the impact of your perception of self on your life, and the very important issue, which I think is often neglected, which is an emphasis on living in your body rather than controlling your body. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so those of you from Coconut Creek, of course, know Ren and Fru, who are the two teddy bears who have taken up residence in the community meeting, but this appears to be a cousin who is traveling maybe on the Bright Line or maybe on another train to come and see us. We bring our body with us wherever we go. And I think that's such an important statement. We bring our body with us wherever we go. Because so many people who have an eating disorder try to detach from their bodies. And of course, it causes a lot of stress and it's just not possible. So let's bring our bodies with us as we participate in this presentation. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, you're going to see a series of photographs of children, like this adorable child who is playing at the beach, reaching out for something in the sky. And as you see these photographs, I want you to think about yourself too, and maybe early pictures that display how you felt living in your bodies at that time. This little girl is maybe only 2.5 at the most. And she's at the beach in Florida. One of them. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Oh, this child, of course, is rather upset. You can tell by the expression on her face, and she's not afraid to let it show. When you look at this picture of her not being afraid to show what she feels through her nonverbal expressions, are there times in your life when you felt the same way? And maybe you were able to express it, but maybe it wasn't safe enough for you to. And that's some of what we kind of pull into our body image as life goes on and changes occur during these times. But I love this picture and I love her attitude. Okay, let's see what's next, Hannah. And this one, I know you all love this one, of this little girl and her love for her dog, whose name is Zazu. And I know that many of you have dogs or cats or birds that you love also, and that really help you connect with yourself and your need to feel empathy, compassion, and a connection to the larger world that you live in. Okay, and this child, I think, was baking cookies. Who do you think she's showing her cookie to? My guess is it's her mom, maybe her grandma, maybe her dad, maybe her teacher. But whomever it is, she looks so happy to have created this masterpiece of a cookie. And do you think she will eat the cookie? Would you eat the cookie? Would you have eaten the cookie then? There could be a story behind each of these photographs that we see. One of the things I'm kind of thinking about is if you all would pull up a photograph from earlier on, later on, after this presentation is over, and create a story from it. That might be something interesting to explore further in therapy. Okay, can't wait. All right, here is that little child with the adorable Donald Duck or Daffy Duck shoes. Did you have special pieces of clothing that you liked to wear when you were a child? I know my son had a t-shirt he always liked to wear, and if it wasn't available in that moment, he would get upset about it. But do you still have special articles of clothing you like to wear? This little child grew up to be a very astute and capable young woman who now works in the counseling field and helps other people feel safe enough in their bodies to wear what they're comfortable with and to be the way they are. This one couldn't be happier, it seems. Maybe she couldn't be happier to see the person who's taking this photograph of her. Did you ever feel that way? Do you still feel that way? Do you feel differently than that? All kinds of issues come up as we're looking at these photographs. All right, let's see what the next one is. Here's an older sister with a younger sibling. I wonder how they'll feel when they grow up to be adults. I wonder if the older sibling will protect the younger one, feel a connection, a lifelong connection to her. Somehow, the little one, the infant, seems very happy to be connecting with the older one. What do you think their story is? What's important about that relationship? Do you have a sibling or maybe a neighbor, friend, or a teacher that you feel that kind of connection with, or maybe had that kind of connection with? Sometimes that kind of compassionate and caring connection can make a huge difference in a child's life. This is a very special picture. And this one, I think she has grown up to be a soccer champ. Look at her. She is so happy. I wonder if she's being propped up by pillows in this picture, but she's just ready to go. As we're young like this, babies and children, we do show glimpses of what we're going to be as an adult later in life. Unfortunately, sometimes things happen that cause detours to take place that are unpleasant, that are scary, and that are life-changing, which of course is some of what we're dealing with. Although I'm sure that some of you experience difficult issues early on in your life that continue to play a role in how you feel living in your body today. Okay, let's see what's next. I love this picture. Look at this little girl. How old do you think she is? I'm pretty sure she's under 2 there. So when I ask you sometimes and have in sessions, how old do you think a person is when their body image begins to develop? Well, it's certainly happening then, isn't it? Of course, it happens even earlier than that, but we don't remember it in our heads. We do remember in our bodies, though. So I'm going to read this definition to you that was written by a colleague and friend of mine, Adrienne Ressler. She said, body image is the picture in our mind's eye of how we look to ourselves. It reflects our beliefs about how we think others perceive us, and it captures how we experience the feeling of living in our bodies. Did you know that the feeling of living in your body is part of your body image? There are actually 3 concepts that underlie body image. We're going to look at those now, but before we turn the screen, look at her again. Looking at her mirror image, how do you think she's feeling in that moment? Do you think she feels safe enough to look at herself? Do you think she likes the aspect, what she's wearing? Might this be a reason later on when somebody says to her, what's your favorite color, that she says purple? It's hard to know what all sticks with us, but we know that the younger we are, the more we relate to what we felt early on living in our bodies, but it becomes part of what we call our unconscious. And of course, one of the challenges that we have in therapy and in life is to make what comes to the surface conscious, to make the unconscious conscious, so we are consciously aware of it. If she had an experience in that outfit that was scary to her and uncomfortable, she might end up hating the color purple and not remembering consciously where that came from. All these earlier experiences are so valuable. So I'm encouraging you to get your picture book out and see what you can learn from the little child inside of you. All right, let's look at the next one. All right. These are the concepts that underlie body image. And I want you to look at the picture for a minute. Some of you who've worked with me have seen this picture. It's of a cat looking in the mirror and seeing a lion. And so think about what you think that cat is feeling. What would be the difference between a kitten or a small cat and a powerful lion? And your perception of how you see the world today is a reflection of how you were developing and working on seeing your world earlier on in life. If you have pencil and paper handy, you might want to pull it out now and write these perceptions down. How I perceive or believe that others see me. That is an important one. How I see, believe others see me. And that may be a reflection of how I see myself. So if how I see myself is a perfection or a projection of how I believe others see me, then this cat who's looking in the mirror and seeing a lion may be feeling empowered, pretty good about herself in that moment. Maybe the cat is going somewhere and wants to see herself as capable, empowered, likable, or that kind of thing. She will have a different experience than she would have had if she was feeling some of the negative things that one might feel when they have an eating disorder. How I see myself, how I believe others see me. The third one, as a result of how I see myself and how I think others see me, what I feel living in my body can actually tell me that if I'm having negative feelings, fears that I can't conquer, things that I'm feeling upset about. I think all of that would be really important. And then what actions do I take as a result of the perceptions I have of myself, the perceptions I think other people have of me, and what it feels like to live in my body? And Ani, I know you said something on the chat. Can Aaron or one of you tell us what that was?
Yeah, so Ani said the cat is saying, I'm the greatest of all time.
And when you feel that way, you are. And you feel really good. And that is a wonderful experience to own. Because I think when you suffer from some of what you all have suffered from, difficult developmental experiences through the years, traumas in many forms, it's sometimes hard to pull up feeling good in your bodies. And so many of you try to take that away or can't grab onto that. I'm just going to grab something back here that I know I have. Hold on. I'm home today because I didn't have a camera that worked at work on my computer. So this is what I want you to see, this card. And it says, somewhere in any emotional experience, the body enters. And I love that because I think it's so true. And it goes along with wherever we go, we bring our body with us. So when we're spending time trying to pull away from ourselves, maybe not liking things we've said or done, and that's familiar to all of us, whether we have an eating disorder or not, we don't like the experience we're having in our body. Hopefully, since nobody is perfect, although we all know people that try to be perfect, we sometimes get stuck in that conflict. And then I want to show you something that I brought with me. I thought of this last night when I was trying to fall asleep. I thought, I think this is downstairs. Caution, 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 caution. Yep, I had it right. How many of you live in a body where you feel caution? And then what actions do you take in your body, in your life, as a result of feeling cautious about showing yourself, coming out of the root, the rut that you're in? And then what happens to you as a result of that? I know Ani has a plant that she's been growing for how long, Ani? Maybe, how long's it been? 6, 8 months? Oh, almost 2 years. Oh my goodness. That is a long time. So this plant continues to grow because she nurtures it. Now, some of us don't do so well with plants, but that's okay. Whatever we can care about. Sometimes we do best with a kitten, a dog, maybe taking care of our fingernails, maybe taking care of a neighbor's child or something. Finding ways to live in our bodies that make it safe enough for us to live in our body helps our body to grow and to grow stronger and more positive, so that when negative things happen or we get scared, we don't have to just fall down and feel like we can't get up. We can actually get up. But that means that when the caution tape that we use following hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff, when that comes up and we wrap ourselves in it, I'm going to try to wrap myself in caution tape, that it covers up who we are. And it makes it difficult also, I'm finding, to be free. And it makes us feel confined. Now, some of you may feel like it makes you feel stronger when you have to curl up in a smaller body because it's not safe enough to let your body grow and develop and be freer. But that is the goal, to find a way to open up so that you can be a little free and maybe even freer. Now, Ani says it reminds me of an experience she had last week where she changed clothes a bunch of times. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? Who else finds that happens? Where in trying to get up in the morning or trying to get out of the house, you don't feel comfortable in your body. Okay, and from Amanda saying, I might need to watch the replay. Okay, what's that mean? Can anybody explain that? Aaron, can you explain?
Yeah, Susan, Amanda was wondering if you could repeat what you said about finding ways to feel free.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm thinking is this is when we're caught up in caution tape, so to speak, it wraps around us. So we may feel more tense. Our muscles may not, KNOT, not up. We may feel locked in and unable to get loose or get out. So a challenge would be to make it safe enough to begin to feel even a little so that we could open up. We're going to try an experiment. So we're going to, let's see. Okay, we're going to go this way first. Do the movement towards you. Muscles tighter and changed. Einstein says nothing happens unless something moves. So I free this one part of me, but this other part of me is still very much closed in. And I think that happens when you choose an emotionally driven behavior and you may give it up, but then you may feel more stressed out in another part of you. So trading one emotionally driven behavior for another doesn't work. So we need to be able to feel safe enough to feel, to express, and to understand, and to connect what's happening inside of our body and to decode it in our head. So our head understands too, because if I take this off, I may be free, but I may not feel free. And I wonder how many of you feel that way in not using an emotionally driven behavior like eating disorder symptoms or something else. I mean, you can restrict with food, you can restrict with feelings, you can plan on going out somewhere, but you can convince yourself you can't do it and pull back in. And that would be a conflict that you're having between your head and your body. And your body is telling you that something may be scary, uncomfortable. Maybe it's not safe enough for you to go somewhere, maybe to drive or to focus or to go to a meeting or to meet with somebody or to take a phone call or anything. Anything that you're struggling with becomes a challenge. So when you meet that challenge with caution, it's a warning sign or a clue that there's something bothering you about it. Now, when you can take something like that that's happening in your body and decode it, then you can understand more what might be scaring you or bothering you. However, if you take it and you just trade one emotionally driven behavior, like getting all caught up in it for another, can do it this way, I can do it this way, I can do it this way, I can do it this way. And you don't explore why that's happening and what that's about, then you remain stuck between I can, I can't, I can, I can't. And I know that a lot of you get upset when an emotionally driven behavior surfaces. If anybody wants to speak to that, I think that might be helpful. I personally see it as a clue that something's bothering you, and an opportunity then to explore what the antecedent is, what's bothering you, so that you can understand it and work through it. So all of this relates to your body image and the concepts that underlie it. So instead of being fearful of these concepts, to be a detective could be helpful. Oh, Annie says it's like the downward arrow. Oh, and Erin, can you read the rest of that? I missed it.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's like the downward arrow and trying to find the core of where that feeling or thought is coming from.
Yes. So if you can understand that, then you know where to look for it. If you discard it and bury it, where do you think you bury it? Ani, do you have a response to that? Where do you bury your feelings? In your body, absolutely. Nothing happens unless something moves. So as we're taking the caution and burying it inside of us, we get more nervous, we fiddle more, we do that shaky movement in your body, and we say, oh, it's nothing. No, I'm not anxious. Our anxiety rises. And it's a clue if you're a detective. And I'd like you to consider being a detective rather than a patient, because then you can collect clues to uncover the mystery of what's going on inside of you. And that is what's so important. I want to shift to the next slide, but then we're going to shift back to this slide. So, Hannah, oh, yeah. So today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is truer than you. I love that quote. And I know that you all love quotes too. So I'm going to also encourage you to pull up quotes from the internet and paste them on your mirrors in different places. This, I just think this is adorable. And this is the same little child who had the purple outfit on and was looking in the mirror at herself. All the same little child lying in her crib or wherever she was lying, whose older sister was caring about her. Do you think she knows that she's special? Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. How special is that? To even create your own booklet with photographs of you or of someone or something that reminds you of you. And to use the 3-component model to see what you feel, to see what actions you're taking, and to decode or understand the connection between what you feel, the actions you're taking and your thoughts and patterns in your life. Because when you don't feel this way, that it's okay for you to be who you are, and it's so easy to get caught up in negativity. I think especially when you've had an eating disorder, and then you think the worst of how you see yourself, the worst of how you think others see you, and the worst of what it feels like living in your body. And then the actions you take may cause you to miss seeing someone that you really care about, going out in the world, buy a plant, taking care of it, going to a meeting, wearing a special sweater that maybe you knit, or a hat that you knit, giving the special gift of yourself, being present with others. All those things can make your life richer. And the negativity of the feelings that stay buried inside of you don't help you to watch something grow. That something is you. So I'd like to talk a little bit about this, or hear if anybody has comments that we can kind of make visible here. I think that could be helpful for other people. So does anybody else have anything they want to share, to open up about here, that might be kind of a letting go, that could feel good, positive? What do you think? Maybe we can even go back. Oh, what are you thinking, Erin?
No, I was just going to say, Susan, we don't have anything in the chat right now, but I'll keep looking and share as we get things.
Okay, great. Let's go back, Hannah, to the beginning of the presentation. Yeah, where we look at these pictures. And let's just look at them and see, with an eye for you as an individual, to identify anything that you think is important or meaningful for you. Here is this little two and a half year old reaching up. Try it. Lift your arm up, reach up, and reach in, or reach out as if you were reaching for something. If it helps to close your eyes for a moment that feels safe enough, go ahead and do that. Then bring your hand back and take a breath in and a breath out. And if you have that paper and pencil, just jot a little note down for you. Okay, let's go to the next one. All right. Close your eyes. When did you last feel like that? She looks pretty upset about something. Do you have a picture in your mind's eye that reminds you of this photograph of this little girl? Anything that you can relate to? How we see the world is a reflection, if we bring it back to ourselves and can provide us with information. When your therapist says to you, what do you want to talk about today? And you say, I don't know. It's all here. You can say, I was really drawn towards this photograph. Or one time when I think this little girl's maybe two. When I was real little, when I would get upset, maybe you were allowed to express it, maybe you weren't. And that kind of counts as a conflict inside of you that still plays a role today. There are no wrong answers here. Anything you see is important. Let's go on to the next one. All right. Who has a dog or a cat? And what does it feel like when you hold that pet, your pet, in your arms or cuddle with it? Or maybe you don't have a dog anymore. I don't have a dog anymore. But even when I hold my a picture of my dog or a stuffed animal, I feel that same kind of connection. And it feels good. But I may feel the loss of not having my pet anymore. Having had a pet and lost a pet, I know how valuable it is to all of us. So let's go on to the next one and let's take a look. Look at her. She is so proud. Do you remember a time in your life when you did something you felt really proud of? Maybe it was you felt support of whomever you were showing that to. Maybe you wanted support. Maybe you didn't get it. Whatever the story is important. There are no wrong stories. Go back to the next one. Go forward to the next one. And do you remember a special pair of shoes you had? Or a special outfit or a ribbon or something for your hair? What do you remember? She looks so shy here. I know she's not shy today, but in that picture, she looks real shy, but kind of happy. I don't know. Maybe she's scared to come out of that wall she's leaning against. How does that picture impact on you? Go ahead, write it down. There are no wrong answers. There are no wrong responses. If you don't know, that also is a response. If you don't know in your head, in your mind, but you feel something in your body, like maybe your heart beats faster, maybe you feel more tense, maybe those are clues as to what you feel. Let's go to the next picture. Did you ever feel that way? What does that picture mean to you? What does it stir up in you? Is it comfortable? Is it uncomfortable? Again, no wrong answers. Go to the next one, Hannah. How about this one? Whoa, we got one. Come back body checking when I catch myself doing body checking. Well, why do you think you do body checking? Have you ever walked out the door and checked in your purse to make sure you have your keys? Why do you do that? What is that about? Might that be an important gesture? So if we look at it in terms of body checking, what are you looking for when you do body checking? So what might that experience mean, and what might underlie it? Why is this little girl, the big girl in the picture, touching the infant? What is she checking? And how does the infant feel about that checking? And again, back to when you forget to turn off your oven, you can't remember if you did or you didn't, You forget your umbrella. You're not sure if you have your keys or not. What is that about? Can you look at the bigger picture? And can you close your own eyes for just a moment and picture yourself checking your body and then letting go of that, and see what kind of picture comes up in your mind's eye? What comes up in your head when you are checking in your body for something? And if there's a response, that might be helpful. A response that comes out. There are always responses that stay in, because what do you discover when you check your body? And what does that do for you? You're not good enough, yes. And I think that happens to a lot of people. And where does that thought come from? You may have kind of shifted it so it comes from your body. It's really a caution sign, a red flag that comes up when you're feeling some kind of conflict. If the next time you feel like checking your body, you can explore, maybe through the 3-component model, the action you're taking, checking your body, the feeling you have in your body, and the thoughts you have, just like you mentioned it just a minute ago, of not being good enough. Maybe you could write a short story about once upon a time I did not feel good enough, and what might come out from that story. You might even find an old photograph to use. Take that photograph and write a story about not being good enough and what that means to you, how that fits into your life, how you're drawn toward an emotionally driven behavior, and how now I'm suggesting a detour to explore what that response is about. Because remember, how you see yourself and believe others see you, and what that feels like in your body, is all part of your body image. And it goes way back to before you even could think thoughts. Your body responses goes way back to the beginning. So I hope that that thought is helpful for you. I know that a lot of people feel like they're failing when they have an emotionally driven behavior that emerges. But if you can explore that, it's creating an opportunity for you to take what you may feel very cautious about and to unravel that and to bring it out in the open. And that's what's really important, I think. Let's go to the next slide here. Oh, okay. She's please just punch here and go to the next one also, Hannah. This one. See how curious she is at that age and how important her body image is. And now go to the next one, which I think is the last one. The one after that. This one. I want you to think about this one, that today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. Those of you who have made statements that could be shared by others, really created special opportunities for all of you and all of us to explore from the inside out, from the bottom up, feelings and thoughts that may originate from when you were that age or younger, or feelings and thoughts you have. Go back again, Hannah. I think 2 slides to the next one, this one, because these are guidelines for you to put together a story about you that you can examine further and understand, so conflicts can transform themselves into opportunities to develop, just like watering a plant does, taking a risk to step outside, or to share feelings and thoughts in this presentation. Body image is really hard to deal with. And since we bring our body with us wherever we go, we know that somewhere in any emotional experience, the body enters. I hope this has been helpful for you today. It was helpful for me.
Susan, I'm sure it was very helpful for everyone. And I know we got a lot of messages kind of throughout and we're able to make it really interactive. I think one of the things I'm kind of sitting with, Susan, is you talked a lot about like decoding the messages that our body is giving us, like being able to be that detective and think about it.
Mhm.
As we're collecting the clues, what do you suggest? What do we do with them as we've decoded them? Maybe we've got some theories, some ideas. How do we take that next step?
I think it could be any way. I think it could be in writing a poem about it, and taking the words that come up for you and creating a poem about it, a short story about it, drawing it, sculpting something, sculpting or drawing without knowing. It could be doing a scribble drawing where you scribble, 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 and you scribble this way, and then you scribble this way, and then you scribble this way, and then coloring it in and seeing what pops out for you. It could be taking the clues to therapy. And what does a detective do? A detective do with the clues? They put them all together to
Mhm.
form the answers, that the mystery, to understand the mystery. I think sometimes I hear people I work with saying that they want to fix, or somebody wants to fix what's going on. I always say plumbers fix things. We don't fix them, we understand them. And when we do, sometimes then other doors open and we're able to express ourselves and to move on and to deal with whatever's going on. I think when we're triggered, it's an opportunity to
Mhm.
explore a trigger as a clue that takes us to a place. So instead of saying, oh, I'm falling apart, I'm not doing well, I'm regressing, let's say, there are a lot of question marks here. Let me write what the questions are down so that they can be explored more. I think it'd be a great exercise in an alum group, for
Mhm.
example, to do that. Even just at home by yourself, look at when you're taking a risk, and decoding would be translating,
Mhm.
like translating Spanish into English or translating nonverbal into verbal.
Mhm.
We want to make the clues available and visible so that um, when we experience them in our body, we can bring them out in the open and not have to pull them into tension and fear,
Yeah.
making it safe enough to take the risk. to feel,
Susan,
express, and understand.
yeah, I feel like that's such an important piece, that it's so much about, it's not finding an answer necessarily or fixing a problem. It's about understanding and having that awareness and
Yeah,
acceptance.
yeah.
Well, Susan, we are out of time for today, and I just want to thank you so much. Your presentations always mean so much to our alumni community, and we are so happy to have you today. For those who were wondering, we will be posting this recording to our YouTube website. So it's the Renfrew Center on YouTube. You can follow and get updates when new things are posted. And so we really encourage you, go back, re-listen, re-watch, and see kind of what you notice as things change. Again, on behalf of myself and the Renfrew Center, Susan, I just want to thank you so much for this presentation, and thank everyone who attended. Thank you all for participating so much. Thank you.
I thank you all too.
Have a good day.
Okay.